So how do you balance that? I mean, you've got a full-time job, you're out there, you're performing, you're recording an album for the first time.
Yeah.
How do you find time for it all? What does your schedule look like?
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to just being a passion, It's like, doesn't feel like a job. It's just kind of like what I've done pretty much my whole life.
Welcome to the Bourbon Friday Show, where every week we take a short break, meet someone awesome from the St. Louis startup scene, and also try a new bourbon. I'm your host, Nick Niehaus, and today I'm interviewing Chris Rhein, who is the singer of the band Starwolf, and also works for TuneSpeak here in T-Rex. So, Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously, you're on the show today because you have a pretty exciting announcement. You have your debut album came out today, right?
Out today, yep.
All right, so what is it called, and tell us about it.
Ti Amo Stargazer is the title.
Okay.
6 tracks, totally self-produced, self-recorded and mixed this time around, which we've never done before.
Really? Okay.
So it's exciting for us.
That's awesome. So obviously there's some first there, but it sounds like you've recorded some tracks previously.
Yeah, like we've done our own demos for years. So like Tim, our drummer, is like really awesome with recording and kind of stepped up the gear. Bought a bunch of new gear over the years, and so we were able to just kind of finally take the plunge and just do it all ourselves.
Wow,
so,
that's
and
impressive.
we're kind of in that mentality of just trying to just do everything, ourselves.
Really? Okay. So I mean, it's not necessarily the typical path here, right? Because a lot of times you would go into a studio, maybe have a different producer, things like that.
Yeah, we worked with a producer in the last round, and we just learned a lot from Jason, and so we were able to take a lot of that, knowledge on like analog synthesizers and just the recording process and kind of make it, our own thing.
Very cool. All right. So tell me about the history of the band, right? So you're at the point where you have a debut album, but you've been around for a while. So how'd you get to this point?
So this band's fairly new. I mean, we put out like 2 tracks. We've been playing together in other bands for many, many years. But,
sure.
This just kind of felt like a new project, and it's kind of where we started with the first batch of songs, and then,
Very cool. So I know, my cousin is in the music industry as well, and I know that it's quite a lot of work to get to the point where you have 6 songs you can put out as an album and kind of put your name on them. So
sure.
Are there songs that didn't make the cut, or tell me about that process. I mean, how do you figure out those final 6 tracks?
Yeah, so we went through, countless demos to get to these 6. Some of them we've just kind of put on the back burner. We might, put on the next release, or some may just stay in demo land forever.
Sure.
But yeah, it's just kind of part of the process, especially when you're doing everything yourself.
Yeah, I bet. So tell me about kind of your sound or whatnot. I mean, obviously people are going to hopefully go download the album and check it out for themselves after the show here. But what is kind of your genre, so to speak, and do you have a unique sound that you like to work on?
Yeah, I think with this release, we were kind of going for more of like a subtle funk with like pop songs, and really kind of heavy on like the analog synthesizers, and that a lot of like funky bass grooves and that kind of stuff. That's like where our heads were at when we're writing, but also just kind of like listening and taking everything we're listening to and just kind of putting it all together for this release. So everything from like Talking Heads and Phil Collins and Michael Jackson to Tame Impala and Mac DeMarco, and so kind of our influences range all over the place.
Sounds like and you're the singer, right? So
yeah.
I know you sing like almost falsetto in a lot of
it. Yeah. I also play bass live and on the record for maybe one song. But yeah, it's a super collaborative process with Max and Tim and myself, and so
Very cool. So I know the one thing that stands out to me that I heard about is that, obviously Lou Fest didn't happen this year. That was a big kind of catastrophe this year. But last year, you guys were actually performing on the main stage, right?
We performed on the BMI TuneSpeak stage.
Okay, very cool.
So the smallest of the 3 stages, amazing experience. We had an awesome time slot for some reason, and it just kind of, the stars aligned for us.
Really?
For this one set. So
yeah, that's a pretty amazing way to get some exposure.
It was great. I think it was like our 3rd show ever.
Is it Lou Fest? Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you mentioned TuneSpeak there. So I mean, I know you've been working there for years. I mean, did that have a tie-in to getting on the stage at all?
Maybe a little bit, just from like the networking and the people that like we knew. But what it came down to was like, the owners of Lou Fest and also the people who kind of booked that stage, just like hearing us and being into it and approving us. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats. I mean, that's
Thank
exciting.
You. Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
So back to TuneSpeak for just a second. Just kind of figure out what's going on there. So you guys, tell me how you get involved in TuneSpeak, because that's how I met you many years ago at this point. What does TuneSpeak do, first of all?
So we helped artists reward their most passionate fans. We run like contests and giveaways and that kind of stuff directly with artists, and so that's kind of where it all started. I've been there for like 5 years. Started out as an intern, known Tom and the guys. So
that's awesome.
It's just really fun to be able to kind of work in the music space and then also have my own band and still be involved with writing and recording music.
Yeah, so I'd imagine that's kind of beneficial because you're probably making connections, or at least learning about the industry through your day job, so to speak, or
just learning about the ins and outs of the industry. I don't think many of our clients necessarily know that we're like in bands ourselves. So like it's not like we push that kind of stuff, but it's just awesome to kind of just be in the space, learn how it all works, and just be have it just be like my full-time gig.
Sure, and living in the music world 24/7 basically.
Totally.
Okay. So just to share with people if they're interested in earning some rewards from some of their favorite bands or whatnot, or I mean, I think you can earn prizes and tickets and things like that through TuneSpeak. So is that something they can just go sign up for, or is there an app they can download? How does that work?
You just go to tunespeak.com, and there's probably close to 50 live contests right now. And
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I know one of the things I definitely want to get into with you tonight is kind of the fact that being a musician and starting your own band and trying to make it in an industry like that is 100% an entrepreneurial job. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of times people, they think of it as kind of a totally different experience, but the reality is, I mean, you're out there promoting yourself. I mean, you're doing everything a small business would do to get up and off the ground, right?
Yeah.
So how do you balance that? I mean, you've got a full-time job, you're out there, you're performing, you're recording an album for the first time.
Yeah.
How do you find time for it all? What does your schedule look like?
I mean, it really comes down to just being a passion, It's like, doesn't feel like a job. It's just kind of like what I've done pretty much my whole life since I was like 13. So it's just kind of like what I do, and same with probably any other entrepreneur who's like owned their own business, and that is like their thing,
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm not like working here and being in the startup community, like it's all about writing music and promoting our music and how we can kind of like do things in different ways and try to think outside the box, especially like with technology and just being at a music tech startup. It like helps kind of think about that kind of stuff, and we've all been in other bands like our whole lives, like I mentioned, and recorded many albums, and so we just want to take a different approach to this and not necessarily take ourselves too seriously, but also have fun with it. And all that stuff.
So what works for you? I mean, what are you doing to promote? Obviously today was the debut, right?
Yeah.
So what is the launch strategy for it? What are you doing to get the word out?
Just kind of sending it out to people in town, St. Louis, just trying to kind of stake our place here, have a home base here, and just be able to like draw and just have people know about us.
Okay.
And so there's various ways we're doing that. One of my favorite chips.
Red Hot There we go. Red Hot Riplets.
Yeah. I'm a big fan, big component. So I've been kind of using my favorite chip to help get the word out of our band.
Really? Okay. How have you made that happen?
So I'll just staple flyers to shows.
Yeah.
Staple flyers to bags of chips.
Okay.
Give them out to people walking out of other shows.
Really?
Instead, nobody's gonna like look at your flyer, but if you give them a bag of chips, maybe they'll do it.
While they're eating the chips, they gotta
like they have something to look at. Yeah, I don't know, just stupid stuff.
Certainly memorable, right? You're not gonna forget the guy.
I mean, it's memorable for me. So.
Well, that helps too, right? As
Yeah.
long as you're enjoying it, that's what matters. So I know you got a show coming up, right? So you got the debut today, but you got a show coming up in a couple weeks, right?
We're playing our release show at the Duck Room in Blueberry Hill.
Okay.
It's on Black Friday, November 23.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, yeah, we're excited to play these new songs live. We don't really play like crazy often, so we're trying to get everybody out and just have a good time.
Yeah, I mean that's a great venue, and I know that particular night is like one of the crazy nights of the year, right? Right on Thanksgiving.
Well, yeah, for sure. Like I think a lot of people will be in town. A lot of people will be out of town too, but it'll be a good night for us.
Sure,
A lot of friends, family,
rotation
be in town.
of things. Sure.
People kind of have a day at least to recover from like the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is always
that one's the worst, from what we hear, right?
So hopefully people, come out after a day of shopping.
Very cool. All right. Well, so I'm, my background going back years ago, I played the trumpet growing up, so I was super into music. I was never in quite a band like yours, but I did jazz and classical music and stuff like that. And I know that, that was a central part of my childhood. It was a big passion of mine. So how did you get started? I mean, I just volunteered, 4th grade. Hey, I want to play an instrument. And they kind of assigned me the trumpet almost. So you said you were 13 when you started, right?
Yeah. I was like really into skateboarding, in my early teens. And then I picked up a guitar, and that was kind of like, I stopped skateboarding and I started learning how to play guitar.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I mean, I barely knew how to play my instrument, and my buddies just kind of started a band and kind of learned a lot. It was from when I was like 13 to 20. Yeah, pretty much.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's kind of where it started, just being young and having a passion for music.
Yeah.
Looking back, I kind of wish I went to school for music in the early days.
Oh, really?
I did go to college, music school for college, so
awesome.
But yeah, so I do kind of wish I learned like properly when I was young, but you're just young and dumb.
Yeah, you don't know any better, right?
That's lame. So,
that's one of those.
But now I'm like, no, dude, that's cool.
It would have been really cool to play at an early age, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any musicians in your family, or how did you get started? Like, what was kind of the influence?
And my dad's, he doesn't play much anymore, but he's kind of like a lifelong trumpet player as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep. And my mom's a singer.
Oh,
so,
there you go.
Yeah, she started going to college for music before she started teaching and that kind of stuff. So
sure.
But yeah, I mean, musical family. I have a twin sister. She has a really nice voice. She's a singer too. My brother, both of my brothers are guitar players.
Wow. Okay.
And
you guys ever collaborate on anything with
I mean,
the family?
We'll hang out. We'll jam.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
cool.
it's definitely a musical family. My youngest sister, she's an artist. She hasn't really gotten into music. But,
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I have 3 younger sisters, and they all played music after I did as well. So that was always a little fun thing to do. My parents weren't really into it as much, but it was all soccer. That was the thing. It still is the thing.
Yeah, I was not the athletic type. I love baseball. But I was like kind of scared of the ball when it started getting fast.
Oh yeah, no,
like
I can understand that.
up,
I used to be the kid who would get hit with the pitch all the time.
Oh, same.
So I'm like, this is how I get on base.
Yeah.
They just hit me with the ball, and then I get to walk to first base.
Right.
And
that's not a fun way to
I
get
just
to
had to be
base.
bruised for a couple weeks, but I wasn't able to hit the ball, so that worked out for me. All right. So you got are your bandmates here tonight? I know you got some of the TuneSpeak staff here, but
they are. I see them.
Cool. We'll have to say hi to them later. So I know you provide some pizza for us for Bourbon Friday here today. That's pretty awesome. So if anybody's able to come down and join us, they can enjoy some pizza.
Yeah.
So for anybody who wants to check out either the album or the concert you're doing next week, is there a website they should go to, or how do they find you guys?
Follow us. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. Starwolftheband.com. Got some info. Yeah. Check us out on Spotify. We've got all of our music up there.
Okay.
iTunes, Apple, every digital platform.
Really, like anywhere you want to go?
Yeah.
I think I was on SoundCloud earlier.
Yep.
I think I found it there. Yep. So very cool. All right.
Yep.
And tickets to the show, what's the easiest way to get a hold of those?
Definitely on our Facebook page. There's the event with all the info there.
Okay.
But also on Blueberry Hill's website, you can find tickets as well. I think they're like $10.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
So.
Not bad.
Yep.
Sounds like a good opportunity. All right. We got a couple minutes left here, so now's the time of the show. We always invite the founder of Bourbon Friday, show to join us, and he's going to tell us what we're drinking on. So what are we doing tonight, Eric?
Spilling on the couch.
Spilling a little on your hand first.
Yeah.
That's the first step.
So I thought since we were talking about an album release, we talk about another type thing that gets released often, or a recent one. In the fall, distilleries release their sort of limited edition products, and so that is what this is. This is Monon Bell. It comes from Still 630. I tried to get last year's back in July. I went to 10 different stores just for the show. Nothing. So that, yeah. So this is basically like the album equivalent of vinyl. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
And so if you want it, go out and get it. But I thought
I'm going to savor it a little more.
Yeah,
now.
don't just toss it back. So as the name might imply, Still 630 here from St. Louis.
Okay.
So Bourbon Friday, we like to feature cool things like Starwolf. So there was another cool thing to bring on the show too.
Awesome.
All right, very cool. Well, I think that's about everything we got for the evening, right? Mm-hmm. So, Eric, thanks for joining us as always. Chris, thanks for being on the show tonight. Yeah, definitely had a good time with you. For those of you that are watching, we obviously do this every single Friday. The Bourbon Friday show airs at 4:30, and the Bourbon Friday event itself goes from 4 to 7 o'clock here at T-Rex. So we do want to thank T-Rex for hosting us. Thank you to EQSTL for streaming the show through their page. Thank you to my business partner, Vanessa Lobo with Connect Marketing for producing the show. And as I said before, I'm Nick Niehaus, your host. So thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you again next Friday.
Hey, thanks for watching. We truly hope you enjoyed it. Please like and share this episode, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. To stay up to date, follow us on social. We are at Bourbon Fridays on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. See you next time.